You have reached Eric Marshall. Leave a message.
This is Dr. Roberts down at Roberts Family Medical Dentistry, and we called to say that we got your x-rays back, and it looks like we're going to have to pull all those teeth. You haven't been down here in 20 years. We haven't seen anything like that in our lives. Anyhow, give us a call back. Thank you. So this is our 5th podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of in our, trying to figure it out still.
In the zone.
Yeah. Still there's some room for improvement. So we try to think of topics all week. So some of the topics we thought about this week were, I got a list of topics from a friend of mine, and I can't remember them, but one of them was, is perfect the enemy of the good? The answer to that's yes. Next topic.
Perfect.
Darkness, my old friend, prepped for is truth stranger than the fiction. And here's how he works. Here's how this guy rolls. He says, I studied all week on all kinds of historical facts and learned about strange things in truth that stranger than fiction, assuming that you guys would call me. Now, I didn't contact you and tell you that I had done this, and I didn't tell you I was available to be contacted, but I assumed you guys would contact me at that point in time, and I was ready for you to contact me. And nothing ever happened. Why is that?
And then we try to contact him and he won't answer his phone.
Yeah, we're going to contact him a lot more often, looks like. Night and day.
Okay.
Let's go into truth is stranger than fiction for a second, just for a second.
I've got one.
Go ahead.
Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. JFK was elected to Congress in 1946. Lincoln was elected president in 1860. Kennedy was elected president in 1960.
14 years. What about, were they really killed on the same day?
Lincoln's secretary Kennedy warned him not to go to the theater. Kennedy's secretary Lincoln warned him not to go to Dallas.
That's crazy.
Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners. Both successors were named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald was born in 1939.
Yeah.
Both assassins were known by 3 names. Both
Wow.
ran from the theater. Booth ran from the theater and was caught in a warehouse. Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theater.
Huh.
Booth and Oswald were assassinated before their trials.
Wow.
Didn't say anything about the date that they were killed.
Right. That'd be a little bit much. That'd be a hole in 165, right? A hole in 365.
That came from Snopes.com.
All right. So that's a reputable source. All right. That's
So it's
truth is
true.
stranger than fiction. I mean, the main thing on that was everything was 100-year spacing. Yeah. That's interesting. Well, my truth is stranger than fiction is not as good as that.
Yeah, maybe next time.
So, but here's what blows my mind. You know, I'm a internet consumer, right? I consume the internet in large quantities, day and night, night and day, day and night, night and day. And so I was watching this video, you know, where President Trump goes to the gas mask factory, right? So he's at the gas mask factory, you know, and he's on the dais or whatever you call it, the stand. What do you call the stand?
The stand?
The stand you talk in front of, the
Podium.
podium. And he's up there, and it's like a rock concert, and they got the music cranked up real loud, right? And they're playing, in this ever-changing world in which we live in, makes you think it again. Just blew it. Live and let die. So Trump's, I mean, it's cranked out. It is on 11 in there.
Awesome.
And it's live and let die, Guns N' Roses. And Trump's not wearing the mask, and he's pointing at he's holding the mask up or pointing at the mask. Like, how about that? There's a mask. Look at that mask. You ever seen a mask? Like, that's a mask right there. Live and let die. You know, it was.
That's awesome.
That's pretty. Truth is stranger than fiction on that one right there.
You think you should have been wearing the mask?
I'm going to withhold judgment on that.
Don't want to go there.
He can do whatever he wants.
Free country.
Free country. Free
Live and
country.
let die.
So Guns N' Roses got pissed off. You know,
That's the hip
the other
thing to
thing,
do nowadays.
the other thing that happens here in everything in life is the story never ever ends. Okay.
Nobody will let it in. They keep beating it to death.
So they got pissed off and they made shirts that said "Live and Let Die," COVID 45, Guns N' Roses. You know, he's the 45th president, so COVID
Ah.
45.
I thought that was supposed to be like Colt 45.
No, it's number 45.
So
So
did Paul McCartney get mad?
you know, that's the question. You know, Paul McCartney, he needs to get paid.
He's not very vocal about politics. You
No.
never hear about him complaining or protesting.
You know why? He's got friends in high places. He's got the Queen.
He's got more money than probably Trump does.
He used to date or married to Linda McCartney, vegetarian. They had a vegetarian bike racing team.
Heiress of the Kodak fortune.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, I try to pull stuff out you haven't heard of, and you've heard of it.
It's like a
steel trap.
an encyclopedia up there. Like a 1984.
All right, so what else you got
encyclopedia.
for truth, stranger than fiction? I didn't do too much. If we called what's his name up last week when he was ready for us to call him, but he didn't tell us to call him.
You should have just emailed it.
He didn't schedule it. Let's see. Let's go into politics just for a second. I'll go quick.
All right.
I'll go quick.
Get it
All
out
right.
of your system.
It's right, and so I've got friends on both sides of the political spectrum, right, and they're still friends, right, and politics is a damn team sport in America. And
Yeah.
from what year? How long has it been a team sport?
Probably since the beginning.
Well, I don't know, man.
Since before we were a country. Had the Whigs and the Tories.
I think it's the 2000 election where the Supreme Court slid the Florida ballots in, and Bush got 8 years.
Why wouldn't they do it?
Well, I mean, I think it's when it became the polarizing discussion in America.
Oh, okay.
So let's back up to presidents we have known and loved, right, and try to do our hysterical viewpoint.
Yeah.
So, I guess I was born in the '60s, right, and I guess Johnson, the Southerner, succeeded Kennedy. Kennedy was shot in '63, right? Then we had Johnson.
Yes.
And Kennedy's term would have been up in '64, and we had Johnson in '68. You agree? You don't have to even check your phone with, I'm talking politics, buddy. I know my politics. And then Nixon from '68 to '72, right? And Nixon's second term, he got impeached in '73, '74, and then Ford took over for 2 years, maybe.
Yes.
And then Ford went to Jimmy Carter, probably the greatest president we weren't worthy of, right? Who's still at 93 building houses, 93 years old building houses.
Wow. Hope they're good houses.
He's and he looks like he's 93.
Yeah.
And then Carter went to Reagan, right? And we had Reagan for 8 years. Republicans loved him.
Who was the first one you voted for? What election was the first one you voted
That's a
in?
great question. I'm gonna tell the truth on that one.
82, 80. No, 84.
So it was a Reagan thing, and it seemed like we knew the fix was in that Reagan's going to win. You had Dukakis, little short dude sitting in the tank, and I'm like, Reagan's going to win. And when you register, you have to give away your Republican or Democrat. And I was kind of paranoid. I'm like, well, I'll do Republican that way.
Yeah.
They can't track me down and hunt me down in 1984, that book, 1984.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So I voted for Reagan in 80. I don't know if I voted for him in re-election. I don't know if I voted for Clinton.
You couldn't have voted in 1980. Could you?
Second, so 84 was
84?
this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
okay.
who was Reagan's VP? Who was
Bush.
it? Was it Bush?
Yeah.
Who was the VP guy that Quayle? Who was he with?
Quell was with Bob Dole. Was it Bob Dole?
Was Quayle with Bush Senior?
Yeah, that's right. 1990.
All right, so let's get back. So we had 2 years of Reagan. So we had Reagan from 80 to 88.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we had Clinton from 88 to 92.
No, we had Bush Senior from 88 to 92, then
Okay.
Clinton until 98. No, 2000.
Clinton until 2000, right. And then Gore was the anointed one.
He was supposed to be the...
Yeah, he invented the internet. He wrote the book on global warming, which I have. He was a shoo-in against Bush. And then the
He was
Supreme...
too robotic, they say.
Yeah, I mean, there's the likability factor, and people like to do not what they're told, right? Like Rage Against the Machine. F you, I won't do it. And then the Supreme Court gave it to Bush. So Bush got in there, right?
Yeah.
That was 2000. And then we got the Saudis ran the buildings in 2001. 19 Saudis, right? You guys can-
Supposedly.
Oh, supposedly.
Depending on who you ask.
And then Bush started the Iran war, right?
Iraq.
We didn't fight. Did we? No, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Saddam
Yeah.
Hussein.
Yeah, Saddam Hussein, Iraq. But it wasn't, the Iraqis weren't in the planes. It was Saudi nationals. I think there was 19 of them.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And then, so then we started fighting that, Afghanistan. Bush was in there for 2 terms. Now, he went against, who'd he go? He went against, that guy was on the...
Kerry.
All right, so George got in for 4 more years, and we didn't know how good we had it. And then, who ran after George? It was our main man McCain and Sarah Palin
Against
Obama and Biden. So hang on now. I thought Obama came in 2012.
Came in 2008.
Okay, thank you. 2008.
Change
So Obama
we can
came
believe
in.
in. Change we can believe in.
Change, yeah, yeah, hell
Or
yeah.
hope or something like that.
Right. And then we got Trump. And then Obama was at a press conference, his like annual joking press conference. He made fun of Trump, and Trump showed him. That's what they think. It's like Batman and the Joker. Like he's at this press conference, it's all press, and he's like, and then Trump was saying Obama was born in Kenya.
Yeah.
And Obama's comeback was, well, at least you'll never be president,
And Trump's like,
and Trump did it, man.
Just because of that.
All right. So the reason we're rehashing this politics is so when did it get bitter between Americans? Like you see now, go down the road, you see the Trump sticker or whatever. You see all the websites. You go to any website. I know you want to say something. Any website, if it talks about a Democrat, you have 1,000 bad comments from Republicans. And if it talks about a Republican, you have 1,000 bad comments from Democrats. Mm-hmm. So maybe the internet enabled it.
Yeah, probably since the advent of the smartphone and the average Americans got more access to the internet.
So 2000, 2008 was Bush 2, right?
Wasn't most of Obama's campaign was ran on the internet, on social media back in 2008. That's when they first started doing the social media stuff.
Yeah.
It's just taken off since then.
Well, when you say social, was there comments on YouTube news? No, I'm sorry. Comments
Facebook.
on you. Yeah, it was Facebook. Was Obama? I don't know. So I think we're at a good point here. I think we found some truth is that the internet created the division. And everybody can put their opinion up. And anytime my opinion is equal to yours, you maybe have a PhD in virusology, and I'm like, well, I'll eat ginger and kill that stuff.
They're trying to put a stop to all that stuff. Major companies, internet companies like Google and YouTube and Facebook.
Right.
They can just delete people's comments or ban them or something. Just
you'd have to have an army.
Just because they say, we don't agree with what you say.
So here's the question.
Who decides what's true?
Well, we kind of hit that earlier, but here's the question: is your truth equal to my truth?
To some people, yeah. Some people.
I mean, that's kind of a rhetorical question. I'm saying between you and I.
It depends on what culture you come from, and all kinds of.
Let's pull out one of these conspiracy theories. Man landed on the moon. So you say Stanley Kubrick filmed it, prepping for 2001: Space Odyssey.
Right.
Let's say it's a true fact. Man landed on the moon. The guy that says no, it's a movie. Is his truth equal to a real true fact?
You would have to go in and research every fact about both sides of it, and then research the facts on those facts. I mean, it's a never-ending. You could go all the way back, and then if you find one thing that's not true, you can say, "That's it. It's nothing. It's not true."
And the other question that begs that what you're saying is, well, what has the internet changed? We when we just talked on the phone, when we just talked in newspaper editorials, or when we just spoke to one another in caves. So that leopard's not over there.
Decentralization of the knowledge creators, I guess you'd say.
So it's always been, which truth is true. I don't know.
Salem witch trials. Who really was a witch and who wasn't a witch?
Right.
Who decided that? People in charge.
Well, they didn't like some women.
Or they got turned on or got attracted to them. They say,
right.
That woman's made me horny.
Yeah. Well, that woman stole my husband.
She got a birthmark on her.
All right. So the division came in the internet age. So here's a question. Make sure, because whenever I ask a question, I got to make sure I really trust the answer.
Okay.
Were we that divided in the Reagan years? Were we like, go to caucus? Reagan won by a sweeping amount.
They call them keyboard warriors. You can
Yeah.
hide behind your keyboard and say whatever you want, something that you probably wouldn't say to somebody's face, you know,
Yeah.
because you're afraid you'll get
Right.
beat up or whatever.
Sure.
You can say whatever you want to on the internet.
Right. Well,
It used to be anonymous.
so the question I'm asking is, yeah, before the internet, were we as divided?
I think we were. People still, had their preferences. They just didn't. They weren't as
Yeah.
vocal about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, my mom's from a different generation, and, and she's probably, any president requires respect. You have to have respect for whoever it is. The other thing,
respect for the office.
the other thing with Gore, let's go back to Gore for a second, Gore and Bush, is Gore won the popular vote. Okay.
This goes back to who do you believe? Whose truth do you believe?
Well, they count the votes. You have to,
Do you trust the people counting the votes?
Do you
the people reporting the votes?
do you trust the score in a football game?
I don't care about football.
I'm asking. That's still this number of
Do you-
things.
yeah, but there's so many different people reporting, and there's so many different ways you could fudge the numbers.
Well, let's just assume, because there's no source I've seen that the votes are off, that Gore won the popular vote. He did. If you look at Wikipedia, 2000 election.
Okay.
Everybody can edit Wikipedia, and if it hasn't been edited, then it's normal.
So then they'll say, but we go by an electoral college.
Right.
So you're against the electoral college when your candidate loses, but
Yeah.
you're for it when your candidate wins.
Well, and here's the question, and I don't
Okay.
know this as a political junkie, was that the first time, and I don't think it was, electoral college picked somebody and popular vote picked somebody else?
I'm sure it wasn't.
You think like Warren Harding or somebody like that, it happened, who knows?
Yeah, or Lincoln, somebody.
Right. So, but in modern times, the rest of them tracked. Okay, they won the popular vote and they won electoral college up until Bush.
Okay.
In modern times, we're saying post-war, right? Post-war, 1945.
Okay.
So, okay, where were we? Where was divided with Reagan? Where were we divided with Clinton? Clinton years, we thought we're good. He's playing sax. He's on TV. We're watching X-Files. Nirvana came out. Times are good. Had the impeachment with Monica.
Pre-2001,
Yeah, pre-2001. Great point, Professor.
different world.
Right. Then the world changed. And the world kept changing through technology, and then the world's changed real bad this year. So now it's a team blood sport. Now, one thing I read is people are more likely to change religions, like become Catholic instead of Protestant, before they change political parties. I've read that.
Wow.
We could call some good buddies of mine up and get them all stirred up. They talk about, well, you're not seeing the true picture. You're not seeing the real information that's out there. And there's cognitive bias, whatever the hell that means. You only absorb, and I don't want to monopolize. You only absorb information you believe in. You only look at information. Anything.
Well, you see the good in your candidate, and you see the bad in the bad candidate.
Right.
In the candidate you're against. So
Right.
You
So-
don't see the bad in the candidate you like. You just see the good. And
So-
vice versa.
Right. So what's happened now, we're super divided, right? And I think Trump knows this. And you only have to have 51% to win.
Right.
So you don't have to get everybody to love you. You have to get 51% of the people
Right.
that vote to love you. And so he can inflame both sides. He can say, "Hey, Michigan, we're not going to send you money because you're voting by mail," and you can just suck at Michigan. And he can just play one side versus the other. The question I have
Okay.
for hardcore partisan people is like, let's say we have a president like Trump. Out of 10 people, 4.9 can't stand him for 4 years. Okay? Out of 10 people, 4.9, right? 5.1 can stand him, 4.9. And then do you just want, now if you multiply that, 4.9 times 300 million people in the country. Well, let's just say half of 300 people, 150 million people.
Yeah.
Are you happy with the candidate that pissed off 150 million people for 4 years? Does that make you happy? Do you really?
You can say that about the previous president as well.
I don't think half the country's pissed off with Reagan or half the country's pissed off with Clinton, right? Maybe they were with Obama. I mean,
You don't even have to be pissed off. They're just like you said. They're not your party.
So, come back.
Okay, go ahead.
That's probably a good point. I'll come back to that point in a second. So it comes down to, is that candidate worth pissing off half the country for 4 to 8 years? Is that candidate worth it to you? And some people say, yeah. And the point they get to is, well, you only gave me 2 choices. So
Yeah,
it was, I had Hillary or I had Trump. So Hillary would have pissed off, 5% also, or half,
Right. The lesser of two evils thing.
Then you say, well, how come we had these 2 shitty candidates?
It's designed that way.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
It's the anointed. Well, when Trump came through, there was like 16 of those dudes up there. Remember that? Like Mario, what's Mario's name? Rubio.
Yeah, I guess.
And the other Bush in Florida,
Jed.
low energy Bush is what Trump called him. And my favorite, Ted Cruz, right? Oh, Ted
See
Cruz.
that booger thing?
Yeah. And then,
That's what cost him.
what's funny is that Trump told Ted his wife was ugly. You know, he said he had a picture of his wife and Melania. And Cruz's wife's like screaming or something, her mouth's open, she looks nasty, and Melania's, posed for model picture. And then he also said that Ted Cruz's dad assassinated JFK.
Nice. Ted Cruz is also the Zodiac killer.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but now Ted Cruz is, how high do you want me to jump, Donald Trump? How high do you want me to jump?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And then the center of the whole universe is McConnell. Mitch McConnell. I don't know how much you know about him.
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
I know they call him, what do they call him? Something McConnell.
Moscow Mitch.
Yeah, that's it. Moscow Mitch.
He does all kinds of stuff. His latest thing, and this will affect you, latest thing he's doing, he's authorizing cops or whoever can search your browsing history with no questions. They can just remotely search your browsing history. He authorized that. He's trying to cut funding to states that are bankrupt for coronavirus, right? That's a big thing.
Okay.
He doesn't want to send New York money because they mismanaged it because they have a Democratic governor. So he's just trying to say, we're only sending money to Republican states. If you're a Democrat, you die, it's because you're a Democrat. And then New York says, well, look, Kentucky, because he's from Kentucky, we pay in $63 billion a year in taxes. You guys suck out $39 billion a year in taxes. Give us our money back. You're the one that's bankrupt in the system. So they go round and round. So the question on the team plan, we think it happened with the internet. We think it happened recently. We think it happened because one party realized it only needs one vote more than the other party. It's become a sporting event, right? It's like NFL football.
Why don't both parties get together and say, hey, I care about the American people just as much as you do. Why don't we give them a third choice?
Third choice divides.
Neither party wants to give up any of their power.
Right.
It's not just one party's bad and the other party's good. They both suck.
I mean,
everything you say about one person from one party, you could say about another person from another party.
Well, we were talking earlier, what truth is out there? What's the real truth? Nobody knows.
Certain news channels just bash on Trump and all his people, and then Fox News does the opposite.
Yeah. So it's all for gain. So really, it's a manipulation game, like you said, for power, for money.
Control of information.
Yeah. That's 1984. So where was it going with this? So is there a resolution?
No, there's never going to be a solution.
The only thing of hope I've got, so right now it's Biden versus Trump, and Trump saying Biden's got dementia.
Sleepy Joe.
What?
Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe, and he's got dementia. And then everybody else saying, Trump wrote us off a cliff for jobs and whatever. So you got the governor of New York, Mario Cuomo, Democratic, and he had 72% approval in New York across both parties. That's, of course, if you go into the comment section of the article, Mario Cuomo, they're all saying, he killed my grandmother. He put my grandmother back in the nursing home with coronavirus. She's dead. He killed 9,000 grandmothers.
I guess that's if you believe polls, too. Polls can be skewed.
Yeah. Well, Trump always has 41% approval, 43% approval.
You can see the same two polls done by two different news agencies, and they'll both be skewed toward their...
That's a big jump, though, from normal. Normally, it's around 50 for any party.
Yeah, okay.
And Cuomo's been doing these daily press conferences every single day for months on coronavirus, and he kind of comes across as voice of reason, right?
Do you think if 9/11 happened today, people would be banding together and getting behind the president, as opposed to back in 2001?
That's a good question.
In light of all the
probably not
big divide.
Yeah, probably not.
They'd be blaming each other like crazy.
So the other questions I wanted to have around politics, and they're kind of coming back to me, is like, so what happens? Where does it end up? Do you have a civil war? They're not, the stuff's, it's in the same block. Like my neighbors are one party, I'm another party, the other neighbor's another party.
I mean, it could come to that. I think we're just going to keep slowly losing our rights, and then they're going to start censoring the internet like China does. And they'll start paying attention to what people post, and then they'll come and arrest you or cut your power off or freeze your bank account because you said something that didn't follow the narrative.
The governing party could. The
FBI could.
Yeah. Well, whoever makes the laws, right? Like anyhow, we could go. I don't want to go down Trump rat hole right now with stuff he's done. It kind of. But here's the question: if you're a partisan political person, who do you hate more? Do you hate? Let's say you're a hardcore Republican, right?
Okay.
Do you hate a Democrat more than you hate a Russian? Who's your enemy?
It depends on what narrative you want to follow.
What context?
What narrative you believe in.
Like, let's say, the Russians are building nuclear missiles, right? Or Chinese or whoever. Who's our enemies on Earth right now? Everybody?
China, Iran, Russia.
North
Used to be
Korea?
Venezuela.
Not Canada. Not Mexico, hopefully.
They don't count.
So
We don't have any enemies that could do anything to our country militarily. Not with just sheer numbers. It'd be some kind of cyber attack or like this stupid virus crap.
So the question was, if you're a partisan Republican, like some of my good friends, who do you hate more, Democrats or Russians? I think it's Democrats, man.
Yeah, and same thing goes for the if you're a Democrat, who do you
Right.
hate more?
Right. Okay. All right. So
Republicans.
if you're a Democrat,
Everything you say about one party and the people in one party, you can just apply
Yeah.
that to your party,
that's true.
and it's never going to get any better.
That's true. One thing you can say about America, I've heard other people say, it's less corrupt than other countries. Less corrupt. I mean, it's not 100%.
Every government in the world's corrupt. Even
But like
local
people,
government.
like people I've talked to from other countries says it's less corrupt here. You got a chance to get ahead. All right, so here's the other question. Let's talk about. So how come there's just two political parties, right?
It's easier to control two groups of people than to control three groups of people.
Well, here's the question. There's a lot of other countries, right? There's like 300 and some countries on planet Earth currently. They all have different political systems. Does it always come down just to two choices? What? Okay,
England and Germany's got a bunch.
let's talk about England. They got the, and you know more than I know, the Tories and the Labour. So that's like Democrats, Republicans. I don't know which one's
There's
which.
some more.
Two major ones, right? Maybe there's a little small one.
Uh,
So if it comes down, and I don't know, this now I'm stretching it. If it comes down always to two choices for government, how comes is that? Because it's just humans are binary.
It's the simplest and the least amount of effort,
Yeah.
as opposed to just
there,
having one
there may
choice.
be three platform governments out there somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, we have our independence. But
Yeah.
they're so minuscule.
Well, that's probably what screwed Gore. Who was running independent? John Anderson?
What's his name?
Perot?
Yeah.
He was in. He's passed away too. Rest his soul.
I heard a good conspiracy about him.
Oh yeah.
He had to quit. I think it was the '96 election because they threatened to crash his daughter's wedding.
I think I heard that.
So he just dropped out.
Crash his daughter's wedding. Yeah,
Or
a lot of
destroy
things.
his daughter's wedding.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do now. Everything's dirty. So where I was going, we'll have to research this, which means we won't. If there's 3-party or 4-party government somewhere, right?
Germany's got a bunch.
I wonder what India has. They're the biggest democracy. So why is it breaking into two? And what I want to talk about is some things, and I'm not a hardcore Republican. You're closer Republican than I am. But some things the Republicans are right on, okay? And some things the Democrats are right on, right? In that, we got this coronavirus going around, and you get into, well, we can't stay in our basements forever, right?
Right.
Because we got to work. It's survival of the fittest. Nobody's going to give you a free lunch forever. The money, they can't
Right.
keep printing money. Nobody's making anything, whatever.
People are going to start getting really depressed too.
Maybe there's two sides to a human's personality, and there's more sides than that. You remember, I was going to give you the Star Trek episode, all right? So Star Trek, the original series, also known as TOS. And they had one where Kirk beamed back up to the ship, and there's some kind of storm, some nebulous storm, and he beamed up, and the transporter split him in half. So there was like the more animalistic Kirk, right? Then there was the more cerebral thinking Kirk. So Kirk beams up, and they don't beam up at the same time. I guess the evil guy comes in first, then the cerebral guy. So the animal Kirk, he goes right after Nurse Ratchet or whatever her name was, right? The yeoman, it's good looking blonde.
Yeah.
Hey yeoman, come on in here. And he's drinking, and he's going for that, and he wants to go fight. He wants to lose the other guy. He's more of an animal. The other guy's like, I really can't make a decision right now. I don't know which way to go. What should we do,
He's
Spock?
afraid, yeah.
And Spock says, you're the captain. You tell us what to do. And he's like, I can't make up my mind. I don't know. This is so confusing. So maybe the Republicans are the animal Kirk, right? And then the Democrats are the thinking Kirk. And maybe it needs both sides, right?
Or maybe the Democrats are the animal Kirk and the Republicans are the thinking Kirk.
Well, the Democrats are the thinking Kirk. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Everybody would say that Republicans are the animal Kirk. I was calling him Kurt earlier. Kirk. At some point, there's some basic common sense that you can't. Everybody's not a winner on planet Earth. We all can't be millionaires. We all can't be superstars.
Yeah, sure we can.
There's no free lunch. And the other side is we're all equal. We can all help each other. We can all have diversity and all this stuff. So maybe you need both sides, because then Kirk had to get his animal Kirk, and they had to get him, hold him together and beat him up and beam him back together and transport him, stick him together and come back, and you can make a decision.
That's why there are two sides. It's a spectrum.
It simplifies things. When nothing in life is simple. It's not like we have a violent personality and a thinking personality.
Everybody contains everything within them. The good and the bad and the ugly and the pretty.
How does that resolve politics? Well, all the evil Kirks are kind of banded together.
See, the thing about politicians, they have to compromise. The thing about pundits or partisans or whatever, you and I don't have to compromise on anything. We can just believe in everything that we want on this side of the aisle, and everybody else is wrong. When you're in the government and you're voting on stuff, you have to compromise.
Right. You're right. You have to negotiate. You're exactly right.
So like the average Joe doesn't have to.
Right. Yeah. Like I want, open borders, whatever. I want all of the globe to come through here. And then other guys, the evil Kirks, not the evil, the animal Kirks, I don't want the rest of the world coming through here. There's not enough room. I don't have enough resources for them. I don't know if you watch TV. I've been watching TV lately. And there's some, and here in Southeast Tennessee, there's like political commercials with like a woman running for a seat here, a local seat, right?
Okay.
Like local whatever, State House of Representatives, and she's like, I'm here to stop Nancy Pelosi from spreading socialism. She got like an AK-47. And she got a picture of Nancy Pelosi eating ice cream, with her old, Nancy Pelosi's 76 years old, right? She's got lipstick on. She's eating ice cream from the refrigerator. She's got all this gourmet ice cream. She's trying to make a joke. Yeah. I don't care how much gourmet ice cream Nancy Pelosi can buy. I don't want socialism. She got this gun, and she's just blasting away this gun, probably shooting a car or something, and wearing shorts, blonde-haired lady. And I'm so-and-so, and I approve this message. We didn't see commercials like that in the 80s.
I don't remember.
No. We didn't see our politicians just shooting guns. There was a guy commercial too where he's, just popping caps. That's and hilarious. Like, I'm behind Donald Trump 100%,
It's hilarious.
That's where it's gone. So what happens there, you get into the dumbification of America. So you can't move the ball forward because you get shot, right?
You seen Idiocracy?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
You can't have an opinion. You get shot. I always wish in a perfect universe that, we worshiped like science and technology and medicine like we do sports, and said, let's get to the stars versus let's get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Another universe, man. Not happening here. All right, so to kind of wrap up politics, I don't know if we covered everything. Here's what we covered. We covered when did it get personal? What were the antecedent conditions? Was it true in the past? We talked about, I don't know why teams form. Is it facets of the personality? Yeah. And
also, you only hear about the very vocal people. You don't hear about all the people that are, in the middle because they're not entertaining.
Right, right.
Some people are, like you said, they take the best ideas of both sides, but you don't hear about those. All you hear about is the news catching headline grabbing.
We covered a lot of
crazy
ground.
People.
So let's just do a forward look before we end this topic. How do you see this playing out?
It's going to get worse.
I don't know how it can get worse.
More violent.
More protests. There's a whole song. Violence, more violence.
More protests, more violence, then they'll start taking our rights away.
Well, yeah.
More of our rights away.
Yeah. I mean, Trump said we can't have a mail-in election because Republicans will never win again. He said that. They made him go vote in Wisconsin with coronavirus. Like 50 of them got coronavirus from voting in person. I don't know. I think if the Democrats get back in, they need to do something about the, they're not going to, the, what's it called, Electoral College.
All right, I think we covered everything.
Well, that's the news from...
Did we solve anything?
The only thing we resolved is, we're aware of what's going on. If I'm saying the Republicans have good points. When I talk to my Republican friends, sometimes they have good points. And I'm like, yeah, that's legit. But you got to be open-minded.
It's just common sense.
I guess that's it. So next time we get together, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but there is a manned space launch next Wednesday.
Nice. First one in a while.
From since 2011 from the U.S. You got to watch that, man.
Why don't they just use UFO technology? It's so much easier.
Yeah, they already got it.
Get rid of the rockets.
Yeah.
It's all gravity.
All right, brother. You want to do the outro?
All right, that's it, man.
All right, thanks.
It's going to be a good show.
Hopefully knock some people unconscious.
I hope so.